This is an explain video for the Gravelord speedrun route for Dark Souls 1. So just to clarify, this video is aimed at people who are new to speedrunning and have maybe completed the game a couple of times and just want to give Dark Souls a go at completing it quickly with the Gravelord route, or you just want to try something different, or perhaps you want to get a character together quickly for a PvP build. So this video is not intended for experienced speedrunners. I am not a professional speedrunner, I just do it for fun. But as someone who's had to build up from scratch, I'm hoping that this video might be useful to others who are interested in giving it a go. So this is the Gravelord route, so just to explain what we've done so far, we started a new character and we're going to go as the warrior class because it has the joint highest strength, and that's the stat that we need to pump up. So we start with 13 strength and we want to get 16 to use the Gravelord Sword. The Gravelord Sword itself is available right at the start of the game if you join the Gravelord Covenant, which you can access from the Catacombs, so we're going to do that. Just to clarify what else we've done once we left our cell, so you pick up the key, you want to take off all your armor except your trousers, and the most efficient way to do that is to do it in the menu while you're picking up the key, because you can't do it while you're opening the door. But if you're not experienced enough to do that, don't worry about it, just take it off as soon as you get a chance. The warrior armor is really heavy, so it will really affect your stamina regen, so it's worth taking off as soon as possible, even if you have to stop going to the menu and do it while you're still in the cell. Once you've done that, leave the cell and you can unequip your the sword hilt that you start with while you're on the ladder, because you can still do your menus while you're in the ladder, and then you can drop at the door. Here you want to talk to Oscar to get the key and get your Estus Flask. Hug the wall on the left there to kite the hollow into swinging to where you were, and you can run around them. So here, these two hollows we want to take care of. It depends on the RNG for the second hollow, so here I get kind of lucky and he comes out quite quickly, so I can run straight past him. The technique you want to use for the Asylum demon is you want to do a plunging attack, so forward on R2, and then hammer R1 as you descend, and if you're lucky you'll get an extra hit. So that's most of what we want to do for the Asylum. For this bit with Asylum demon, if you can, hang back into the left, and that should hopefully try and get him to swing round, and if you just move to the other side you can get some free swings. So I get quite lucky here with the RNG. The warrior's not, one of the problems we're starting with warrior class is that you can't just kind of do him in one fell swoop or one round of swings with the sword. You've got to do a couple, so you need to be a little bit careful if you want to keep a good time. If you want to do this route more quickly, you wouldn't pick up the soul here, but we're going to get that because it's 400 souls, which will give us the little bit more we need to get 3 levels before we go into the Catacombs, and that means that if we die in the Catacombs it's not such a big deal. Okay, because we don't need the souls that we would otherwise have. So we'll put the soul here, and then we'll put 3 levels into strength to get it up to 16. If you didn't want to do this, if you were happy running into the Catacombs with your souls and just hoping that you don't lose them, then you can actually get a 400 soul on the way to the Gravelord, which you would get instead. So it's a little bit faster. It would be maybe like 10 seconds faster. So we want to get the homeward bones, so there's 6 homeward bones in a chest that we can get on the way to the graveyard. So we do that by running up here, we drop down and then drop out. You can jump off the end to save time if you want, and do a little roll, and then we get our 6 homeward bones. So we're going to push through the Catacombs. Just to say, if you wanted to get 400 souls here instead, you can. It's the item just there on the left, so you could get that instead, but it'd mean you'd have to take your 2k into the Catacombs and hope you don't die. So going into the Catacombs, you're gonna need to use the lever in the first room on the left to flip the bridge to allow you to access the Titanite demon and the coffin that you use to get to the Gravelord Sword. So push through here. I walk straight forward, and that way you don't take full damage here. You're going to want to go into the room on the left. I tend to kite round to the right of the pillar here because it avoids the skeleton on the left from blocking you. When you activate the switch, you're invulnerable, so you want to get on the switch as quickly as you can. Then I quit out for 2 reasons. So first of all, it stops the pyromancer spamming me, but it resets the skeletons outside the room, which means that I don't have to worry about getting blocked here. So to do the drop, you just hold you want to shield up past these 3 skeletons, get onto the other side of the bridge, and then drop down. It's quite a straightforward drop. and mostly you can soak it all on your shield as long as they behave. The reason we're going to use the Gravelord Sword is because the requirements are really low. So I think you only need 16 strength to double hand it, and I think it's only maybe 13 dex, which is what we start with, I think. But we don't need to level dex at all to use it with this class, whatever the requirement is. And it does good damage, and it's also it doesn't need to be upgraded to +5 to make it viable. So something like the Blacksmith Giant Hammer, we can put it up to +5 and get decent damage. But with the Gravelord Sword, we still get decent damage at just +1 or +2. So the Titanite Demon is a dick. The technique for getting past the Titanite Demon, the technique I use, is I run straight at him and I run at his left shoulder and I don't roll or do anything else. If you roll and he catches you as you exit the roll, he'll kill you in one hit. So I just run straight at him to his left shoulder, and normally he'll do an over shoulder swing, which opens him up and allows you to run past. We pick up the Eyes of Death because we need those to access the Covenant, and then we come back. In this situation, the Titanite Demon decided to jump up and down 5 times, which is really uncommon. So here we're in Nito's boss room, and this is where we can join the Covenant. So we go through, join the Covenant, and this gives us the Gravelord Sword. Cool. And once we've got the sword, we're just going to bone out, and then that'll take us back to Firelink. So the goal of this run is I want to try and give you strats to complete the game in under 2 hours. So that's going to be the goal. If this run is well received, then I'll do the same for the other routes like Blacksmith Giant Hammer and Sorcery as well. So once you're at Firelink, pick up the Humanities which are by the well, because they'll give you extra healing and allow you to stack Humanity later so you can increase your resistance against bosses like Seath. And then you're just going to run through Undead Burg, so I'm not going to go into the particulars of the run, but you just want to dodge the hollows. Once you get through this fog gate, you're going to see the Hellkite Drake, and he's going to land. I think I try and roll through him every time, and I think I missed this time. So the timing's really particular. You need to iframe through the vibrations that would otherwise stop you. But it can be done. If you are running on 60 frames a second, I've had it kill me before, but I've never had it happen on 30 frames. So it depends what your frame rate's locked at. In this room, normally you can just dodge these guys, and then you want to get out. I try to kill them because that's what I do for my BGH run, and I've developed the habit of it, and I thought I had time, but I messed it up. So we don't need gold pine resin. We're going to use the Gravelord Sword right from the first boss, so we don't need the resin. We're just coming through this way because it's easier than going the other way. There is a little drop that you can do, drop down to by the blue tier stone ring, but we won't do that because it's quite challenging to get down, and this is a beginner's video. So there, you want to hug left wall and do the jump in time to jump over the barrel. I mess it up in this video, so I can normally get it maybe like half the time. Here, the fastest route, the fastest route is to run down the stairs, and when you see the light, jump off to 7 o'clock. Do that twice, and then you'll get to Havel. Wait for him to come up the stairs, and then jump down and go through the door. You need to be a little bit careful. While you're opening the door, you're invulnerable, but as soon as you come out of the animation, you're vulnerable again, and it's worth practicing the timing to make sure he doesn't kill you. Here we're going to get this 1k soul. We don't particularly need it. We've got the stats we already need for the sword, but 1k is 1k, and that will get us an extra level in vitality before we do gargoyles. We're going to get the Grass Crash shield here, because it's easy. Now, green blossoms are probably faster, but they're also riskier because you have to do the jump to the Crestfallen Merchant twice, and it uses extra souls, and everyone loves the Grass Crest, because Grass Crest is the best shield in the game, pretty much. So, jump down and grab the Grass Crest, and then you can just block against this guy, and then edge your way out. I don't think it's worth killing him at all. In that cave there's a bonfire. If you're not confident about getting the Grass Crest, or you want to try and take on the Knight, he'll only give you 1800 souls, but if you want that extra boost for gargoyles, go for it. And you can rest at the bonfire in the cave. There's no negative to it at all. And the shield you start with is the Heater Shield, which has 100% physical block. It's a really, really good shield, and the parry timing is pretty easy to learn, so you can do that if you can parry with a Grass Crest for Gwyn, you can parry with a Heater Shield. Here we want to double back and get the Feather Arrow and Longbow. So we want to get the Longbow. We're going to use the Longbow twice. We use it once for shooting Guinevere when we open the doors up to get the Lord Vessel, and the second time we use a bow is to line up our fire bombs for better chaos. We don't need any Twinkling, unlike most other routes, so we don't have to kill the Gecko. And I changed there into the Leather Trousers because it gives me a little bit more protection for the same weight. So from this point on, you're just going to run all the way through to the Blacksmith. Some key stats. If we put one level in endurance, and get the Ring of Favour and Protection, then that gives us enough equip load so that we can hold the Gravelord Sword and the Grass Crest and have these trousers on and still fast roll. So after Gargoyles, we'll probably put 2 levels in endurance just to be sure, but you can get away with 1. The Gravelord Sword has absolutely terrible scaling. I think it's D in strength and D in dex, I'm not sure, but it's pretty bad. So we don't need to put more than 16 in strength, and we don't need to put anything else in dex. We won't really get a damage bonus for it. Towards the end of the run, we will try and get 24 strength so that we can single-hand it when we fight Gwyn, and that means we don't have to do the work of switching to 2 hands before we riposte him. So here I'll just use the souls that I've got to put a level into Vit because it makes it a little bit safer. So one of the really nice things about the Gravelord run is that because the requirements for the weapon are really low, you can pump all the rest of your stats into Vitality and Endurance, which makes it a much safer run because you can afford to make mistakes. So we run through the church. We're going to do Gargoyles next. Here you just want to hug the left wall to get him to attack and then try and go around him. Recently I seem to be having problems with this, but it goes okay there. Run in here, shield up, get hit, and then off you go. Normally you'll get hit twice, sometimes it's just once if the other guy's slow, and that buys you time for the guy to get out the door. We can use the ladders to change our gear as we said before, so we're going to use the Gravelord Sword for the fight. We need to double hand the sword, so what I tend to do is I tend to have the shield up as I run in, and then I'll switch to double hand once the Gargoyle's done his first attack. We can take down the Gargoyle in 4 hits if one of them is a running attack. So if one of them is a running attack, we do a little bit more damage, like that, and that means we can do him in 4 hits. So if you get a running attack, it's 4 hits. This Gargoyle will go down in 2, regardless of one of them is a running attack or not. And there we go, we're done. It's 2 hits to stagger, so for the first Gargoyle, if you've hit him once already, you can know that the next shot will stagger. So after this, all we're going to do is we're going to ring the bell and then we bone back to the parish. We've got 10k souls and we're going to kill the Tight Knight Demon to get 1 Tight Knight Shard, and that will allow us to upgrade our weapon 1 time. And we also need to buy the Weaponsmith box so we can upgrade it again when we get to Anor Londo. So the Weaponsmith box is 2k and each upgrade is 5k, so we need 7k. But we'll get 2k from killing the Tight Knight Demon, so that's the cost of the Weaponsmith box. So this means when we level up here, we just need to leave ourselves with 5k. So we can level up before we fight the Tight Knight Demon, and that extra Vit can just buy us a little bit more room. So I'll put 2 levels in endurance, and then I need to leave myself with 5k to do the upgrade. So that gets us to 15 Vit, and then we go and try and take on the Tight Knight Demon. So with the Tight Knight Demon, I tend to try to go in blocking, and then once he attacks, I hug his left shoulder, and once I'm there and I know I'm not going to get hit, then I try and get as many hits off as I can. The problem mostly with this guy, so there he attacks, and we know we're safe, so we get off a couple of shots. The problem is the jumping attack. Like, he seems to be able to hit you wherever. Like that. So it's not a big deal if you die, because you can come back down and get your souls. So if you die, don't sweat it too much, but you will need to pick up your souls when you come back in, because we need these souls to get the upgrade. The Tight Knight Demon is 4 hits to stagger, I think, so that was my 4th hit in the combo, so he staggered. So if you've got 3 hits, you've got enough stamina for 1 more and it looks like he's about to hit you, but you can get him first, then you know you can do it and stagger him out of the attack. So we got our first bit of Demon Titanite. Here we're going to upgrade the sword, which will cost us 5k, and then we will buy the Weaponsmith box, which gets us 2k. So if you really didn't want to buy the Weaponsmith box, you could get it when you come back here before going into Sens. But I just buy it here to save time, so I don't have to go back downstairs. So you don't need to rest here. This rest here was just to confirm that I can't get another level, but yeah, it was wishful thinking. And we're going to go through back to Firelink via the lift. I'm going to get the Firekeeper soul on the way. So the technique I use for this is I go in, dodge, I can't remember the name of the knight, dodge this big guy with a mace. Normally you can just get away with one roll and be fine. Here he doesn't even swing. So I tend to walk up and over to get it so I don't clip onto the bottom of the altar, and then I hug the wall and run through to the lift. Then in the lift we want to do our inventory management, so we just drop off the heater shield and the sword that we started with. I keep on equipping my Gravelord Sword to save weight so that I can get better stamina regen. So here we want to jump over so that we can get the fire bombs, and unfortunately I mess it up and I fall down. So if you're better than me and you can do that, you just jump over and then you walk along to the fire bombs, and then you're going to drop down onto the fire bombs, and you've got enough HP to walk out the lift and then drop down here and still survive. So those are the fire bombs we want, and we're going to use them for better chaos. Now you can rest at Firelink here, and that's fine. It just means you've got to run back. This is a little shortcut that we can use to get over to Lothrak faster. We forward an R1 to kick him off, and then I quickly reinforce my Estus Flask while I'm waiting for him to die, and then we're going to quit and reload so that when we come back the Ring of Favour and Protection's there. So you don't have to do that jump, you could just go around the long way. If you want to rest at Firelink, you can get the Ring of Favour and Protection, and then you can go and rest, and it will give you an extra 5 Estus. And it means if you die to Quelaag, then you can run back down from Firelink as opposed to running all the way from the parish. Here, to save time, I'm not going to rest at Firelink, and I'll just equip the ring on the elevator, and then I'll heal up to get my HP back up from the fall. So this is just because I'm reasonably confident with the Quelaag fight, and we're only like 17 minutes in, so if I do die, it's just a reset and it's not that big a deal. So for doing Blighttown, there is the Blighttown drop, which will allow you to drop straight down to the bottom of Blighttown, but it's not the easiest drop, so I'm gonna do the drop that I kind of worked out, which is a little bit easier. So that fast swing is the only one you need to dodge. Everything else you can just walk past. Then the way we're going to get down first time is we just walk over to the ladder, and you need to kind of walk into the ladder and round to the right to get over it. And then you're going to do 2 rolls against the wall, and that will allow you to go down, and then you'll go onto this ledge. And that's it. So that's where the Blighttown drop would normally take you. Roll off there, and then you can walk straight onto the elevator, and then heal once you're on the elevator. Once you've healed up, you can walk off the end to go onto the platform, and then roll back the way you came, and then drop down there. So it just saves you waiting on the elevator, and you're going to end up having to heal anyway, so there's not much of a loss. The only risk is if you get smashed by the boulders here, you're going to be one shot because you're low on HP, but to be honest, it's probably going to be a one shot anyway. So yeah, roll through all of the poison as much as you can. It's faster than running. And then once you get onto dry land and you're out of the way of getting smashed up, then you can start to run again. So for Quelaag, before we go in, we'll use 1 humanity to heal, and we'll equip Gravelord Sword. The strategy we want to use with Quelaag is we want to be slightly away from her so she charges at us and does her 3 sword attacks. And that's because if we dodge the first one, then we can sit next to her, the left side of her face, our right, and just keep hitting her in the face, and we can't get hit. For her opening, she always does a spew, or she'll jump over you. So we get the spew, which is easier, and if it's a long one, then we can normally get off 4 or 5 hits. If she does the jump, just run under her and slightly to the left, and she normally won't hit you. So that's the melee attack we want, and that will normally give us 2 or 3 hits on her face while she does that. So if you're not confident about blocking that first attack, then switch between single hand and double hand, so you can block with a Grass Crest shield, and then once you're close you can switch to the double hand. The Gravelord Sword does loads of damage against her, so it's a really quick fight, and you get that bonus damage if you do a running attack. So when you've moved out the way of her, when you come back in, you can run in and do that running R1 just to get that bit of extra damage. The only attack you need to really worry about is her explosion, because that will one-shot you. The explosion, you can tell if she's going to do it because the human top half of her body will roll forward and collapse, and that's a precursor to her exploding. This route does not do the ceaseless skip. I've never tried the ceaseless skip, it terrifies me. So we're going to go do ceaseless the long way now. The ceaseless skip, if you fail it once, then you end up losing time. So it's like the very bottom of my things to learn for speedruns. Also, ceaseless is a really easy boss, and it just doesn't save that much time, and doing ceaseless now, it gives us an extra 20k souls at a point where we really need it, i.e. like before ONS. So yeah, we're going to go do ceaseless now. For getting down that slope, for the slopes in the Demon Ruins, I tend to roll onto the slope because it means you can often come straight out the other end of it without having the stagger animation when you need to get up. For ceaseless, I'm going to heal before I do him, because one time he has hit me, even though we cheese him at the fog gate and we use that strat, he has hit me once and one-shot me, and then he did it again next time, and I was prepared with my shield off and he still did half my HP. So that means we're going to heal for ceaseless. We run off and get the gold hem robes, dodge ceaseless, and then run all the way back to the fog gate. Yeah, so while we're doing this route, we can probably talk about a few more things on the run. So in terms of upgrading the Gravelord Sword, we only upgrade it twice. So the first 2 upgrades only require 1 piece of Demon Titanite each. So the first one we got from the Titanite Demon in Undead Parish. The second we are going to get from a chest in Anor Londo. Here we pick up the gold hem robes to activate the fight, walk forward, wait for him to explode, and then you run. And then we'll just run all the way back to the fog gate. The other advantage of not doing the ceaseless skip is you get the gold hem robes, which are my favourite armour in the game. They have great resistance for everything except for curse, and they're super light, and they make you look like death, which is great. So when we get to the fog gate here, we're going to have a little bit of time, so you can pop some of the souls you might have. So if you've picked up any souls along the way, like the 1k by the door into Valley of the Drakes, if you got that, or we've definitely got Quelaag's soul, so we should be able to pop that here as well. I'm going to be really careful and try to have my shield up for when ceaseless gets here. I also use this time to change my armour and check that I can roll. And then you just wail on him once he does this, and then he will slip into the lava, and off we go. So here I kind of use this time just to check my roll and check my weight, and I see if I can put the chest piece on. I've had a quick look since then, and you can't wear the chest piece and skirt, Grass Crest and Gravelord until you have 25 endurance, which we won't get till after ONS. So this is pretty much going to be our loadout and up to ONS. I tend to just really pump vitality on this route. You can get your vitality up to 33 or 34 before ONS quite easily, and get decent endurance. So I tend to like 17 or 18 endurance. It gives me a lot to run around with, but just tweak it however you want. Now you've got the requirements for the weapon, then you can use whatever stats you like. So next, we're going to do sends. For sends, mostly you can run through pretty much the whole thing. As long as you keep it full pelt, then all of the blades will generally be on your timing, but that is very rare. So the strategy I use is you want to wait in front of the blades and run into the first blade as it goes past, so that you're running into the side of it, and that means when the blade clears, you'll go straight through, and that will tend to give you the timing for every set of blades. Like if you pass through the first blade, as it clears, then you will be able to run through the rest. For this set of blades here, the timing is difficult because you're getting shot at the same time, so I tend to walk out, let him shoot, and then I walk out, and that seems to work out okay for me. You can run straight through and time your roll, but it's really, really hard. There with the boulder, we just heal and wait. We're going to do the back step through the boulder technique to save us like probably over a minute. So all you want to do is walk up to the boulder and then back step through it, and that gives you infinite poise so you won't get knocked down. You do take more damage, but it doesn't knock you down, which saves you time. Iron Golem isn't too hard either, and if you know how to run through sentence, it's not too big a deal getting hit. You can normally go through without too much of a problem. This is the only enemy that we have to attack. We just kind of slap him out the way. There is an enemy in front of the boss as well who may block the door, the Knight Archer, so we may need to hit him as well, depending on if he steps back and runs away from us or not. There's a bonfire, there's the sense bonfire coming up here, so if on this section you walk off to the right and drop down, you can get the bonfire. You can do that if you want, there's no problem with it. It will just allow you to refill your Estus and have a checkpoint if you're not confident with the Iron Golem fight. So if you aren't confident with Iron Golem, and Gravelord is a really bad weapon for the Iron Golem fight as well, or you want to get humanity so you can summon Tarkus, then you can just rest here. With doing Iron Golem using the Gravelord Sword, we want to use R2 attacks. They'll do more damage because they're thrusting and are good against armoured opponents. Here he's going to be in our way, so we just hit him once to get him out of the way. And now we're ready to go. The one soul I picked up, you can see it there in the menu, is an 8k soul. You can get that, you don't really need it, but more souls is always better. And yeah, like that may come in useful for you if you want to do the second level of upgrades and you don't have enough or whatever. For Iron Golem, the fight's going to take a little while because you don't do much damage, so you want to try and pull him down to that end and fight him here so you're away from the boulders. Try to get him to attack, then get under his feet and through the other side, and then you can start to hit him with your R2s. I'm not really sure how many hits it takes to get him to stagger, and I find it so hard to get him to fall down, and when he does, he just chills. He won't fall off for me. Here, just stab him, really good. Cool, once he falls off, the guy at the top, I think he stops throwing those boulders. I think he'll maybe throw like one more, depending on the timing of the golem's death, but I think if you wait, he will have stopped. And then we get to Anor Londo. So that's not too bad. We've got Anor Londo in like 28 minutes, which is quite nice. So from here, we're going to go and do ONS. So one of the other nice things about this run, if you're new to speedrunning, is you do not need to keep all of the souls from Iron Golem on you while you run through Anor Londo. So if you do something like the Blacksmith Giant Hammer, you need these souls to upgrade the hammer. And if you're new to running through Anor Londo, running through Anor Londo with 60k souls is quite scary. For this bonfire, like a really small thing, you can just stand on the green tile. Like I ran a little bit too far. If you just wait on the green tile, then the sit animation will come up and it just saves you a little bit of time running immediately next to the bonfire. On the lift, it's an opportunity to pop any of your souls or do your inventory management. I think here I don't really do anything because I'm not super rushed, and then unfortunately I mess up the jump. I just leave it too late and I fall off. So if you fall off, you can just jump here and try and do it better than me. There's two opportunities to get Demon Titanite. So as you first go into Anor Londo, when you get flown in and then go down the stairs, when you go into the first big room, there's two giants behind you as you go in, and the chest on the right has one piece of Demon Titanite. This is the other one. I get this one because I think the timing's probably about the same. I haven't tested it, but it's a lot less risky. I don't have to get Kite 2 Knights out. If you wanted to get an extra upgrade on the sword, you would need 2 pieces of Demon Titanite. So you could get that other one by the giants, and then if you wanted to, before you come here, you could go back down to the Catacombs and kill the Titanite demon that was on the way to getting the Gravelord Sword originally. So he'll give you 1. But the damage increase isn't huge, so I would say unless you're really unconfident with ONS, I wouldn't worry about it. I think you could probably get 1 or 2 tries on ONS for the same amount of time it would take. So yeah, with the rafters, you basically just want to run and then jump. Although that does look hard, it's mostly movement. If you keep a good speed all the way through, you can dodge everything. If you stop, they will catch up with you and attack you, but it just takes practice. I would advise trying to create a save backup so that you can practice that run if you can. And it only took me about maybe 7 or 8 goes to get down. Like if you actually practice it, it's not as difficult as it seems. And once you can do it, it removes a lot of the risk for getting through Anor Londo, which for stuff like the BGH run is really good, because you have to do this run with like 70 or 75k souls. So with the giants, if they do a thrust attack like that, you can just walk past it. It's only when they do their swing that you really need to roll. Through here, I use low boss's strat of just roll twice, and that puts you on here. And then hopefully you can keep a sharp ear, and if you hear them screech, then they might be throwing their weapons at you, and you can try and dodge it. You might want to heal up before you do this knight. Probably don't heal as close to the corner as I did. I think that was a bit stupid. For the knights, there's a few different strats you can do. The basic and easiest generally is roll through the arrows until you get within melee range. Get him to get his sword out, and then as he starts to attack, you walk back and get him to fall off the edge. There. He doesn't quite do it for me. You can then put your shield up and edge towards him and try and edge him off that way, which is what we ended up doing. And the other one is, if you're confident with the parry, just parry him, riposte him, and try and get the riposte angle so that you knock him off. You don't even need your weapon out for it. So, we are going to save rest at this bonfire, so that we've got a checkpoint if ONS goes a bit wrong. And then I think with the souls we've got, we can reinforce it one more time. And that's it. That's the end of part 1. So I think we can check how far we are now. Yeah, so it's 32 minutes to ONS. So we'll pick up ONS in part 2. Thanks.